Sawadee. This week we're going to be working with our elbows. The elbow is a short range weapon. Remember, elbows and knees when you're close enough to your opponent, or even in a clinch. Punches and kicks when you're a bit further from your opponent and you need a longer reach.
Your elbow is the shortest weapon you have. It's also the sharpest weapon. So the point of your elbow is really what causes the damage in Muaythai. It's rarely a knockout strike, but the damage caused by your elbow, particularly to the brow bone, as the sharp point of the elbow can slice the skin of the brow bone, and which will cause the fight to be stopped because of bleeding stitches, or the swelling which prevents the fighter from being able to see through. So it's a very damaging weapon, sharp weapon, and a short weapon.
With the elbow you can aim for the head, the body, or even the leg. If you catch the leg, you can actually elbow the leg, elbow the thigh for example, and cause real damage to your opponent. There are a few things that you guys have to remember with all the elbows that we're going to work with this week. The first one is very basic. Remember to breathe out. The second one is do not turn your face away when you elbow your opponent. Keep facing your opponent. Your hips move, your shoulder moves, but you keep facing forward. The next thing that you want to keep in mind is that the power comes from your hips. So you want to turn into your elbows. But don't turn your face away. Just that little detail.
A couple of things to remember with your elbow is the placement of your hand. So you want to make sure that you don't drop your hand. You want to keep your hand up to your collarbone. Two things: it increases the sharpness of the point that you're hitting with. So by dropping your hand, you will likely strike with the muscle rather than the point of your elbow. You shift the striking area more to the outside of your arm than the point. So you want to keep it up to ensure that you're striking with a point. Secondly, if you drop your hand and you're hitting with the outside of your arm, if you connect incorrectly, you can put a lot of strain on your shoulder joint. So you want to keep it up to secure your shoulder joint.
If you want to cut your opponent, then you want to aim for the very tip of the elbow. If you want to hit a bigger surface, then you hit with the bigger part of your elbow. The next thing that you want to remember is to keep the guard up on the opposite hand. So if I'm going with my left elbow, then I want to keep my guard up on my right hand side. Very easy to remember, just touch your ear. If you feel it touching, then your guard is up. And of course, you don't want your hand open like that. You want your arm nice and close to protect your ribs.
With the guard with your elbow, you want to lift it slightly higher than you might hold normally, for the reason being that because you're in close range with your elbows and the elbows do so much damage to your face, you want to ensure that this brow bone is protected. So you lift it up a little bit higher. Up.
If you happen to be too far, do not lean forward, do not bend your back. Use your feet, step forward, front foot first, back foot last, and then you're close enough to land your elbow. Another thing you want to keep in mind is your reach with the elbow. So this is how it works. The closer your hand is to your shoulder, the longer your reach is. So you want to bring it as close to the shoulder as possible, and then you have a longer reach. And the last thing to remember is don't drop your hand after doing the elbow. Elbow and bring your guard right back up. Whichever type of elbow it is. Do not drop your hand after attacking, because then you're exposed to being countered. Now what do you do with your hand? You can just turn the thumb towards you, or you can turn your whole hand towards you. I feel like turning the whole hand towards me gives me more flexibility and speed on the elbow, but that varies from person to person.
In the Muay Baran, doing this gives you the open hand, which allows you to use it. So you can use it to catch or grab and so on. If your hand is turned like that, you can't use it.
Okay, now we're going to actually get into the elbows. And remember, the only thing that changes through most of the elbows is number one, of course, the direction of the elbow, and number two, how your hips engage with it. And you control how your hips engage with it by being mindful of what you're doing with your feet. And we're going to go into more detail when we get into the different particular types of elbow.
So the reason you have so much variation of your elbows is due to the full range of motion that you have in your shoulder joint, which allows you to deliver that arm through at almost any angle. However, it's important to remember that the strike of the elbow isn't coming from the shoulder. It is being driven by your body. So an elbow is not this action, the elbow is that action. Being driven with your body, full engagement of your body. There's two reasons for this. One is the power that you get from using your body and your core particularly, but also by using your body you are increasing the length of your weapon. So instead of going from a weapon this short, so just from your shoulder to your point of your elbow, you are now going from point of your elbow through to the center of your body, which adds length to your weapon.
The first elbow technique that we're going to work with is the sawk dtee, or horizontal or cutting elbow. With this type of elbow, it's coming horizontally. So the way your feet need to move is almost like the hook punch, because you want to bring your power in this direction, in that direction. This type of elbow is most of the times aimed at cutting the opponent's face, and you can go for right above the eye, just below the eye, the cheek, the chin. Well, if you dodge under a punch, you can go for the ribs, for example. And sawk dtee is also a lot of the times used to get through the opponent's guard. So if your opponent is guard up, you'd be grabbing one of the arms and coming behind his guard and elbowing the face. And that's a technique used a lot in mostly professional fights.
The slash cut elbow. This is the one usually from the rear hand that comes up as a bowling action and over the top and down at a roughly 45-degree angle.
Arguably the strongest type of elbow, due to the fact that you drop some of your body weight behind that elbow. That's what gives that extra edge in power. Because the power with this type of elbow is going forward, then the movement of your feet will change, which will impact where your hip will take the power. Okay, now the movement of your hand. Once again, you can turn your hand towards you, or you can turn your thumb towards you. But what's important is to remember that with this particular type of elbow, you're most probably trying to go through your opponent's guard, because if it comes horizontally, it might just hit the guard. It's for instances in which your opponent is really good and he's really sharp at keeping his guard up. It's most of the times aimed for the nose. You can aim anywhere in the face or even the solar plexus. But in principle, you want to imagine a baseball bat coming around and through the guard. So there. Once again, keep looking at your opponent and then bring your guard right back. With this one, because the intention is more to smash something, you want to take more surface from your elbow as well. So let's have a look.
Again, remember that it's your body that's guiding the action. So ensure that your body comes down into the elbow. Your elbow or sawk suhy, that's the one coming up on a vertical plane. So that one is catching your opponent under the chin, or if their head is down, to the bridge of the nose.
Once again, the direction of the power has changed. Now it's going upwards. Therefore, the movement of our feet will change, which will change the direction in which our hips take the power.
So to get that vertical lift, you need to push up off the ball of your foot. Straighten this leg slightly and ensure that that hip is lifted.
For the elbow itself, try and avoid taking your hand down before the elbow. Drop your legs if you must, and then bring your elbow up. For this elbow, well, the direction has changed, so I can just point my thumb towards myself, I guess, and right there, and once again right there. My guard comes up on the other side. I'm not straightening up my spine, I'm not putting my chin up.
From the front angle, ensure that you're not opening up as you deliver the elbow. So that elbow needs to be in front of your face as it comes up, so that the channel to your face is closed. So not this, rather that. Your spear elbow, or sawk pung, that is the elbow, as the name says, is acting like a spear. So you are driving it forward as if you were driving a spear forward. So it's two motions. It's the first up to lift the point of your elbow up, and then driving forward as a spear.
With this elbow, you're aiming for anywhere in the face really, and you want to hit with this part of the elbow, just the tip. It's a straight forward going motion. So you want to imagine you're picking up a phone, so there, then you want to bring your elbow up, and you want to have this straight line on top of your elbow, and you want to aim for preferably the nose, but anywhere in the face really, and then you want to keep your guard up on the other side and hit and come back and guard up again. Let's give it a try.
The stretch for your spear needs to come from your shoulder. So you're coming up and then you're pushing forward with your shoulder and your hip. Your first exercise is just to work on your lead and rear horizontal elbows, sawk dtahd. Try and get a nice flow going from one to the other so that you feel the full movement of your body into the elbows. With the elbow being a short weapon, it's also a very quick weapon. So work on your speed as you deliver your elbows.
Jab, stepping forward and closer to your opponent so that you can land an elbow. In this case, we're landing a slash cut elbow or sock dip. Remember, with this one, you want to go straight through the guard.
Your next exercise is a jab cross, followed by a slash cut elbow from the rear and a lead horizontal elbow. Remember that after your cross punch, you need to be stepping forward in order to gain that distance to deliver your slash cut elbow at a closer range.
Okay, for our next drill, we're going to start with a jab and a cross, and then we're going right through with a spear knee before delivering to elbows. To start setting techniques up or combos up, you need to get in the mindset of which technique do I want to deliver after this one. So if you're about to set up a straight knee, it makes sense to open your foot out at 45 degrees with either your jab or your cross so that you don't waste their time and your opponent doesn't see you do it. So in this case, we're going to do it with our jab because it just makes more sense. Because you want to put more power into your jab as you do it, and stepping with the left, jabbing, makes more sense.
This next exercise you focused on previously with your knees. This is jab, cross, straight, knee, stepping forward, side angle knee, stepping forward, followed by a rear horizontal elbow. Elbows and knees make great partners in combinations because elbows will focus your opponent's attention to his head, potentially creating an opportunity to deliver a good blow to the body with the knee or vice versa. Your last exercise for today is a jab cross roundhouse followed by a jab stepping into a back spinning elbow. We haven't focused on the back spinning elbow in this instructional video. It is an advanced technique and we'll give it attention in a future video. But for those who've done it before, give it a go in this combination.
Once again, we're setting that roundhouse up. So I want to open up my front foot at 45 degrees as a jab, and then I cross. As my cross comes back, there goes my roundhouse kick. From here, I step forward with a jab to set up a back spinning elbow. Again, we're setting up for a technique. So we need to set it up with the previous techniques already. So you can, it's optional, to step across already for your back spinning elbow as you jab. So you can jab and then step an elbow, or you can jab as you step and then deliver your elbow.